Hi, this is Nadia Kean-Ayub with the Convention Collective, and we have an especially wonderful guest today that I'm very excited to have time with. It is Nina West, and she is going to be telling us about her upcoming book, The You Kind of Kind, which is geared towards children, all types of children, and all the wonderful things that she's doing right now. So Nina, go ahead and introduce yourself the way you would like to be introduced.
Hello, I'm Nina West, and I am so excited to be here. I am the author of this brand new book, The You Kind of Kind, and I'm really excited to share some joy with you today.
Wonderful. So give us a little background on how you got to be Nina West.
Yeah, so I was in college, and I remember at my university, we had every year at the end of classes before our finals, the LGBTQ student group Outlook brought in drag queens to do a drag show every year at the final night of classes. And so I had my freshman year gone to the show and kind of really fallen in love with it. And then I became the president of the organization, and that met as years went by. And my senior year, my friend Justin and I had said, well, why don't we just do the show? So that's how it happened, was on a dare kind of. And my senior year of college in 2001, I did Nina West for the very first time. And the rest is kind of history. I mean, she really started out, I started out as more of a hobby and as an enthusiast, like as a drag enthusiast. And as the years went on, I found a lot of success in writing shows and telling stories that were connecting both for me and for my audiences. And that's how it really started.
Did you feel having that space to express yourself really defined who you are today?
I felt that the space I had to express myself allowed me to figure out who I was and who I had the potential to grow to be. So that space was my very formative year as a young person, as a 21-year-old, a 22-year-old, trying to figure out what queerness meant and what it meant to be a gay man and what it meant to be a drag queen in a queer community. And all of those things have changed and evolved over the years. And you know, what it meant in 2001, what it meant in 2006, and what it means now are very, very different, you know. And the community has had an evolution, and so have I as an entertainer. And I think that there is my formative years were spent, I think, longing to feel safe and longing to feel like I belonged. And that all built to where I am today, wanting to have messages of hope and joy and kindness, and allowing people to see themselves in the story and see that they belong, you know, and find their own space.
That sense of belonging is important, especially for the youth that are going to be reading your book. And tell us at what part on your path guided you to write this book, and what your hope is for every child that it comes in contact with.
Yeah, so I had done a few story times prior to my time on Drag Race. I'd done a very few. I'd done some story times prior to Drag Race, and then I went on Drag Race, and I released a children's album. On the day of my elimination, I released a children's album called Drag is Magic. And that was just this expression of, I really wanted to connect to, much like the reason why I did story times was that I had friends who were queer and having kids or adopting kids. And, you know, the constant theme was, you know, where's content for us as queer parents, and how do we also engage our children with content that we want to? And I was like, well, wow, that sounds like something I could do, and I could do really well. And so that's kind of where that dream began, of wanting to work in these family spaces and these children's spaces to help tell stories and weave narratives of acceptance, belonging, kindness, and how we give that to the world. And so I released the kids album in May of 2019, and I was on tour in June of 2019 with a tour in support of season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race. And I got a call from my manager at the time, and they said, there's interest in you writing a children's book. Is this something you're interested in? I was like, oh, wow. This is a dream I didn't know that I had, but the second that the door opened, I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to do this. I had done it, I really want to do this. And 3 years later, here we are, finally seeing this book come to light and be kind of born to the world. And as a first entry of children's, as a children's book writer, I feel really proud of this and excited about hopefully the joy that this brings to families and to kids everywhere.
So I'm in San Diego, which we all know how they reacted to the drag queen story time, but we don't want to give them light. So we're going to talk about how you've had that positive reaction with these kids and how you feel every time you see those kids light up.
Yeah, what's really remarkable and what's really wonderful is that you get to see when you do these story times. I think most drag entertainers who've done story times can attest to when you see in person firsthand little ones have reactions of joy and of hope and of curiosity of what the story is telling, and you're engaging them on a level of, I think, both frivolity and authority, right? You're providing insight through your own experience as just a person with a lived experience in the world, as well as someone who's providing the entertainment of reading the story. I think that's a really powerful thing. And these story times are often filled with books about ensuring that we are good to ourselves, we're good to each other. We understand our own value and our own worth as it relates to the rest of the world, and we also understand others' worth as they relate to us. There are wonderful stories that I've read at story times, like books, but like I Am Enough by Grace Byers. I love The World Needs More Purple People by Kristen Bell. There's just a lot of different celebrations of stories that I think provide joy and comfort to families of LGBTQIA plus children or LGBTQIA plus parents with children who want to just have a space of a free exchange of thought and idea and expression. And that's all we're here to do, is to provide fun, colorful entertainment and I think some wonderful insight as well. And there's joy and hope in what we are doing as entertainers and as queens all across this country, who are truly, I think, living examples of how to be your best self, how to be your most authentic self. And of course, that's, my most authentic self is not in a wig and a dress, but no, this is a large personification of my personality and a celebration of myself. And I think that we all should be able to celebrate ourselves in the skin that we're in, and however we choose to do that. And drag is a perfect example of that.
It is, and it's amazing. And do you find that same joy when you're up on stage as Edna Turnblad in Hairspray, which I'm super excited about?
Yeah. So it's so different, right? Because Edna's like, while I am in costume, I would never say Edna's in drag, right? So like, she's like really Tracy's mom and really Wilbur's wife, and but the joy that I get to feel, it's these same stories, right? So this is Hairspray. I have a script of words that Edna must adhere to tell the story, and the songs that I must sing specifically to tell the story. But that's what I do well. I'm a good storyteller, and I am here to tell her story in a way that I think to do her justice and root it in truth and honesty. And to watch the audience fall in love with not only my character, but the show and the story that we're sharing every single night. And by the end of the show, they jump out of their seats and they're singing and dancing and tapping their feet. Of course, it's this overwhelming joy to be able to share such a wonderful piece of theater right now in this really specific time that we're all find ourselves in.
That's amazing, and probably exciting, because we found that a lot of LGBTQ children love the theater, right?
Yes.
And is it the same as being on the big screen, like in Weird Al Yankovic?
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, so that movie comes out on November 4th or November. It's like I don't know what the experience is going to be like, but I can tell you what it's like to film it. And it was completely mind-blowing and otherworldly to be a part of such an iconic project with such iconic people, legendary people. I was on set for one day, and the day that I was there, and I'm not going to give anything away, but I did have the opportunity to interact with Al and with Daniel Radcliffe and with Evan Rachel Wood, and it was just another reminder, right? I think there's a lot of through lines here. Al has lived his life so fearlessly as authentically himself, and has called himself Weird Al, and embraced his weirdness and his wonderfully weird world. And I think it's like a lesson that, of course, I'm trying to live by as well, embracing my weird, my wonderful. And that's a lesson that Divine, who originated the role of Edna Turnblad, who lived such a loud, fearless, like fierce life, embraced her wonderful weird self. And John Waters is another example of that, right? Like all these different markers in my life are telling me these stories, and I'm here to connect to them, and I'm here to also share them. And so, like, just being a part of this Weird Al movie the smallest of parts, was just another reminder of how important it is that we get to embrace and be ourselves. We've got one shot at this life, and why not just embrace who you are fully and thoroughly. And that's not easy, of course, but man, when you see someone who does it, who loves who they are and who loves what they do, it's inspiring. And Weird Al Yankovic is a walking, living, breathing example of that. And I'm just honored that I was asked to be there. I'm honored that I was asked to walk into the room. So yeah, I'm really honored to be a part of it.
That's amazing. What do you think is going to come next, or what would you like to conquer next?
I mean, I would love to. I would love to do more work with my friends at Disney. I would love to, maybe voice a character or be featured in a film, and really, I think, continue to break barriers as led by my friends and my sisters like Ginger Minge and Cornbread and Kimura. But also continue to do the work that I've been doing for quite a while with Disney, which is continue to tell LGBTQIA stories and LGBTQIA voices, which I'm very proud of, this legacy that I'm building with them. So I hope to do more work with Disney. I hope to maybe, put out some more wonderful children's books. I have a lot of different ideas and a lot of different irons in the fire. So I'm just hoping some of this stuff comes to the light of day. But I am a true believer in speaking to the universe, your dreams and your wishes and your goals and the things you're working towards. And so, I really hope one day I get to make it to the Broadway stage after this national tour. I hope that more film work is on the way, but I really also hope I get to continue this through line of my own career, my own personal life, of telling stories that you, as who you are and who you're built to be and born as, is beautiful, and it matters. Embrace that, celebrate it, and carry that torch with you as you go throughout your life.
So 2 years from now, when the world is much more inclusive and we're not fighting as hard, where do you want to see yourself on a Broadway theater? Who do you want to be playing?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, I would love to originate a role. I mean, that would be a dream, to be able to originate my own role on Broadway. But, if that can't happen just yet, I mean, it'd be fun to be considered for Madame Morrible in Wicked, or King George in Hamilton, or, Trunchbull if they did a revival of Matilda. There are a plethora of roles. I would love to be Buddy the Elf. I'd love to be the Grinch. There's just so many different ways and twists and turns that I think my career could go. I think so much of it, though, is asking people who are in those casting seats to think outside of the box and be willing to embrace somebody who has not had a traditional trajectory, and I think that's part of my journey is, I'm an actor who's also a drag queen, who's also an author, who's also an activist, who's, who uses my platform in so many different ways, to tell these stories. And, when these people see me, I hope they can think of me outside of the box and be willing to take chances on, I think, really dynamic and, in my opinion, very smart casting.
So maybe director is next.
Hey, you never know, or producer. I am a writer, and I have a couple projects that I have written that are in process of different things. And I think that is the true story here in this industry is like, if you really want to see yourself, create the work for yourself. And I think that that's a very real and very true way to go about it. So, producing, writing, and directing are all maybe not too far away either.
And that's great representation from creation and exactly. So go ahead and tell us where we can get the You Kind of Kind. And I believe it's out now, correct?
So the book comes out October 25th. You can get it. Yeah, you can get it at any fine retailer. There are some very limited signed editions available, both on barnesandnoble.com. And if you go to my website, ninawest.com, you can get a signed copy from a local bookseller in my hometown of Columbus, Ohio, Prologue Bookshop, if you want to shop local. But the book is available around the globe, worldwide, October 25th. It's illustrated by my brilliant friend, Hayden Evans. And it's just truly, I really believe, a magical journey through text and through picture of celebrating kindness in the world.
Wonderful. Where can we see you as Edna Turnblad?
You can see me as Edna Turnblad all across this country through June 26, 2023, as I will be playing markets all over the country. So go to hairspraytour.com for more information. We will be going to Boston over the month of October for Halloween to celebrate the last 2 weeks in Boston. And then we head to Columbus, Ohio, my hometown, and then Raleigh, Durham. And then I will take a leave from the show for the month of December to do a drag queen Christmas tour, where I will host a drag queen Christmas for Murray and Peter's Drag Queen Christmas with a host of some of our favorite entertainers all over the country. And then I pop back into Hairspray from January to June, from Pittsburgh to Los Angeles, Costa Mesa, and beyond. So get your tickets while you can. That was like a big blurb. You're welcome.
No, that was great. And our last final piece, when do we get to see you in Weird Al Yankovic?
So the movie Weird comes out on November 4th on Roku, which will be fantastic. I'm telling you, I can't give away too much because the movie is filled with surprises and cameos galore. And I can just tell you, on the day that I was there, I got to work with some of my very favorite people in the industry, and I was very shocked and surprised that I would ever have the opportunity to even be in the same room with these people, let alone work with them on a scene in a film. So the movie is November 4th on Roku. Do not miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun and truly, truly epic and legendary. So yeah. And weird. It's going to be weird.
Yay! Thank you, Nina, for your time. We're going to go ahead, and we are so excited about seeing all those things. I'm really excited about seeing you as Edna Turnblad. I think I'm going to have to make a trip up to LA. So
please come.
Thank you so much. This is Nadia Kean-Ayub, the melanin gifted queer writer for the Convention Collective.
Thank you so much, Nadia.